All right. Hello, hello. Mike Holmes here. Welcome. It's good to have you here. We are doing some training today on the key to effective presentations. And many times in the local to be a presenter. And what I mean by this is a presenter in front of a group of people. It might be small, it might be large, it might be Sunday school class, it might be a larger group, even a service, a church service. So this is applicable stuff whether you are a Sunday school teacher or an adult Sunday school teacher, maybe we have a larger class, or maybe even pastor. This might be for you. So just some good stuff here. If you are not familiar with this is the Reach Keep channel here on YouTube, and you can go back and catch this. Some of the ones that we've done in the past, all sorts of different things on presentation and helping Sunday school teachers be the best they can be. So I got some notes today here. Want to go through on how to be an effective presenter. The key, I think, to be an effective presenter, and there's a lot of things, and you can miss a lot of things. You can goof up on your doctrine. You can read the wrong Bible verse. You can stutter and stammer your way through. But if you don't have passion, you're going to not be effective in the long run. That's just the bottom line. We want to talk about how to get passion, or what it is really, and then how to get it. I mean, there are some certain things that you can do, that you can kind of physically do some things that will help you be better and more passionate when you're presenting the gospel, presenting your lesson, presenting the word of God, and teaching in a classroom setting. So anyway, welcome aboard. That's what we're going to cover. If you're new here, my name is Mike Holmes. I'm the founding pastor, Sinclair Baptist Church, out here in the middle of Sagebrush Central, Wyoming. Beautiful day in the mountains here today. We are getting ready for winter. It's already been really cold, and we've had a few little flurries, but we're excited about serving the Lord on Sundays and helping you to be a Sunday server in a teaching thing. Now, I understand many of you may be teaching midweek in Awana type programs, or midweek classes for children, whatever. But we talk a lot about Sundays and how to have better Sundays, and we do the Better Sunday podcast. And you might, if you're looking for a good podcast to listen to with some practical tips, that's aimed towards leadership of a local church, head to the Better Sunday podcast in any one of the podcasting applications that you use. So let's talk about this whole idea. The idea of being passionate is of course, having the passion inside of you. Okay. And then you are able to transfer it out. Okay. It comes out of your mouth. It comes out of your eyes. It comes out of your hands. It comes out of your message and your preparation, and it goes into the lives of those that are there. And when people hear a passionate message, or see a passionate pastor or teacher teaching, or in many cases you probably have watched a movie, or you've watched a video of some sort, and it touched you. Okay, there was some passion going on there, and there was energy that was bound up inside the people, and it didn't just stay in there, it got out. Now, we have the Bible, the most precious book in the entire world, and we have all this stuff that we can do with it, and it is a powerful thing. But I really think it is up to us to be able to present it in a passionate way. And there is much of the human element that is used. John the Baptist, was a guy that spoke with some passion, and crowds came out to see him. Jesus himself spoke, and people said, never a man spoke like him. And it's like, wow, there's something different there. He had a different kind of authority to him. And so that's what it is. It's what's inside, and it's coming out of you. So anyway, that is kind of where it is. So how do you get that? How do you kind of get that out there? Well, I think a couple things that work for me. And I'm just going to share really what works for me, and different things work for other people. But one is the fact that I am a part of what people are going to become. I am a piece of the action in their life. And years from now, they may go back and say, boy, I had a Sunday school teacher. Wow, I had a pastor talk to me. Or I had someone that spoke into my life once. And they're going to be thinking back towards me. Now, I don't say that in the pride way. I say it's like, it's a neat opportunity to be able to steer something in the direction that it's going. And I can remember, and you probably can too, go back to the people that spoke into your lives. And sometimes it was a sentence or two, a message or two. Sometimes it was a longer haul, and they were there for a long time. They were there for you when they needed, but they had some passion and they spoke into your life. And when you start to envision what people will become, and that you got to be a little bit of that. And I like one of the exercises we like to do is just to kind of look at some of the people that attend our church and some of the children and just go, wouldn't it be cool if someday he was overseas as a missionary? Wouldn't it be cool someday if she was a godly mom and homeschooling her kids and raising her kids in a godly way? Wouldn't it be cool if someday that person was upstanding and singing a special as an adult in a service? Wouldn't it be cool if these kids in this class one day all had their own class? Think about that. 6 different kids in your Sunday school class, and years from now, all 6 of them are Sunday school teachers. That's the envisioning process. And I'll tell you what, when I get thinking about that, I get excited. I've got some pictures playing in the back here, and this is one of the things that passionates me, if that's even a word, okay? But I get passionate when I start to see the young folks that we have on the screen here that I have ministered to and where they are today. Now, some of them have slipped by the, fallen the whatever that thing is in the parable Jesus said. They've sprouted up and strayed. I mean, they've withered away, and that brings me some passion too. But to see some of them continuing to follow the Lord and go in the right direction, it is such a great thing. And so that's one of those things, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Kind of the how to have the passion. But the envisioning what people will become is a great thing. And then the passion is another thing, is that we get to kind of start a process. And these are very similar, but this is the idea that we start the process. And if you work in the younger grades, if you work in the nursery, you work in the little toddler class where these kids are 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're just barely talking and walking and starting to grab hold of concepts and some of that, and you're working with those younger grades, you know what, you're the one that starts the process in their lives. This picture right there, that one just went by. All 3 of those kids are serving the Lord full time. It's just a massive encouragement to me to know that I started the process with them, and I was a piece of that process, and I got that going. And you need to have that type of vision when you are teaching kids. You're not teaching for 30 minutes, you're teaching for 30 years. You're teaching through that child to the next generation, and they are going on to serve the Lord. And you prepare that way, and you get ready that way, and you pray that way, and you move forward that way. And that will help you keep that passion going. Now, what are some of the ways to help kind of keep the passion going? One of them is what I've got going on right now. These are pictures of kids here, and some of these people, it's kind of interesting because many of the people in these shots, Lord, and doing great. Some of them now have families and have grown. Our children from Mormon families, LDS families, reached out to and touched their lives, and they have stayed in contact with us. And as you know, working in with situations like that, those are difficult to do, but I'm very, very encouraged to be able to see some of these folks there. So number one is fill yourself with things that will bring you that type of passion, and put photos up and put pictures up, and we show these type of things in our church all the time, and they go back. Some of these are several years old, but we see the people and what they're doing for the Lord. So that is a great way to have some passion. Another thing to help you have passion is when you are getting ready to do your presentation. I like to take my presentation that I'm doing, my lesson, my Sunday school lesson, my sermon, whatever it is, and I like to have it for devotion, so to speak. In other words, I like to look at it now away from the academic and all that. I got these points and I got all this. I got 3 minutes for that and 4 minutes for that and this verse and that verse. And I like to take some of those elements and I like to have them personally embedded in my life and have them in a devotional sense. And I've always tried to be a devotional preacher. This is where you're preaching from your heart. And when you preach from your heart, you will reach a heart. but a message prepared in ahead will only reach ahead. And we need to make sure that we take time to have devotions and passionately believe what we are doing, with the scripture that we have. Then the next thing that is a thing that helps me anyway. And there's some timely things. So for the most part, we're just going to say that you're speaking on a Sunday. If you're speaking on a Sunday, there's probably some things you can do on Saturday that will help you be more passionate and help you be what you need to be. Some timely visits where you go out and visit some of the children that you're going to minister to. For me, many times I text and message and even phone call some of the people that are going to be there on Sunday morning, or I hope are going to be there on Sunday morning, and I invite them to church and I say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to teach you this lesson on Zacchaeus, the wee little man. And, I'm going to teach this lesson, and it's got a powerful lesson to it. You might have heard the guy's name, but I want you to come and join me at church on Sunday." And when people write back and then they say, "Hey, I can be there," whatever, that's a tremendous motivation for me. So, what you do on a Saturday, making visits, making phone calls and texting, plan on doing some of that because that will hype your passion up. I even do wake up calls on Sunday morning because I have people that are really struggling in their spiritual life. And so when I invite them to church, they go, "Well, I'll try to remember and I'll try not to forget," and all that kind of stuff. And you know what I do? I say, "Tell you what, I will give you a wake up call on Sunday morning. What time would you like me to call?" And they'll say, "Oh, why don't you give me a call about 7 o'clock?" I said, "Deal." And so I set a reminder on my phone, 7 o'clock in the morning. I do a wake up call, invite them to church. I'll tell you what, that gets you fired up. When you're doing wake up calls and inviting your kids to come and some of that, that is one of the great things to do. Another thing that can really help you to be passionate is to have godly music, the right kind of music and it may be a song that just burdens your heart. There's a song I love. It says, "Jesus, I long to be winning men who are lost and constantly sinning." I think it's called "Give Me a Passion for Souls." It's a beautiful hymn, and I love that, and I love to get that in my head and get it through my mind and go, 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 go with that. If you're familiar with podcasts and jogging and all that kind of stuff, there are a lot of people that when they are listening to podcasts, they listen to music or they listen to something on their phone. And while they're jogging, they have a little button they can push. And it kind of is like their power song. It's sort of like, one of their favorite songs, and they hit it and it really helps them as they run up the hill or whatever it's called. And I'm not quite sure exactly how all that works. I've not done that technologically, but I remember when I was a kid, I used to we water skied a lot of fun, pulling behind a boat and doing the slalom and making the big cuts and all that kind of stuff. And I remember that during that age or era, there was a song that was very popular. It was the drum roll song of Hawaii Five O, and you probably remember that. And I remember getting that song in my head when I would get ready to start doing the slalom course and do the fancy cuts, and it just kind of kept me motivated. You can have some type of song that helps you motivate. Now, I'm not talking about, crazy songs like Hawaii Five O. I don't think that'd be it, but more passionate type songs that would help you to have the burden in your heart. And of course, the this one we're out of time. I got to get to the Ask Mike segment here. The last one here is the idea of prayer and making sure that you pray by name for your people, and even go through and pray in the seats, but ahead of time to get to your classroom early and have prayer time for all the seats or in the pews there. Is a great time, but prayer and just asking God to touch the people who are going to sit in this chair, the people that are going to sit here, the kids that are going to be here. Oh God, help them to be moved by the Bible. And then you get up and present the Bible, and you have just done that. So all of those are presentation things that I have used, and they have been a tremendous help for me to keep the passion going. When I need to have that. And again, if you're passionless, it really is not going to be long before things dwindle. Your passion dwindles, people dwindle, numbers dwindle, church dwindles, and we don't need that. We need more churches. We need more people coming to know the Lord, and we need to keep the passion levels high. So, and I'm not talking about fake excitement, that kind of stuff, but I'm talking about being passionate for the things of God. So All right. Hey, let's jump to the Ask Mike segment. Forgot to tell you about it at the beginning. But this one has to do with what do you do when kids ask you questions that you have no idea what the answers are. And if you're a Sunday school teacher, this will happen to you. Middle school teacher, for sure. They'll ask questions that are like embarrassing and you don't even know where to go with it. Well, I wrote down a couple things in my notes and as far as like what to do when someone asks you a question and you have no idea what the answer is. The first one is hopefully you're quick on your feet and you've got the answer and you're studied up and you know it, and the question has to relate to what you're doing there. But oftentimes questions come from way over this way or way over that direction. And I was talking to a Sunday school teacher this week, and she said someone had asked them about some questions about the Garden of Eden and how God could have done things. Couldn't he just gone back and started over, and some different things like that? And I'm like, oh man, how would I answer that? How would I, would I be quick enough on my feet to have a good theological answer? Well, the answer to that, probably, at least for me, is like half the time it's like no. I mean, I'm not real quick on my feet. I'm not real quick with the right kind of answer. You don't want to give a cynical answer. You don't want to kind of be short. You want to give them a thorough answer. And so the best thing that I would recommend for you is to stall. I mean, to just say, that's a really good question. Let me write it down and maybe write the elements of it right there. And then those famous words, I'll get back to you. And make sure then that you do get back to the person and do find out what the answer to that is. The Sunday school teacher came to me this week and said, what do you think in the Garden of Eden? And we talked a little bit about it, and kind of came up with what we thought were some of the solutions. So you may not have the answers, and they may not be real easy. But here's a couple of things you can do. Number one is ask somebody. Ask your pastor. That would be a great thing for him to know that your kids are asking questions in your Sunday school class. That would be such a neat thing for a pastor to hear that. And sometimes the pastors have those answers. They know a little bit more about kind of where you're going with some of that, and they might be able to do that. So ask a pastor, ask someone, a Sunday school director, an authority, a wise person that that's good. The second one is just do some research. And in some cases, you need to do the research just ahead of time. It's not like if someone says, how far is it from Babylon to Bethlehem? And you're like, and you draw on a blank. I mean, you can't think if it's like 50 miles or 550 miles or 5,000 miles. I'll get back to you on that. And then you can go to Bible Encyclopedia, look that up, and find out what that answer is. Of course, you could probably ask Google, and your phone would probably tell you. There's some things that are really easy in this day and age, but do some research on some of that before you go around. And by the way, that research will help you be so much more deeper, more passionate about your class, because you're going to have the answers to those things. So anyway, if you get asked some tough questions, that means you're doing a good job. Any questions? I think that we need where we do have a lot more questions answered or asked, where people are kind of wondering about things and you're creating the wonder out there. That's an important thing. So that's our Ask Mike segment. My answer basically was stall. Okay. And go find the answer and make sure you come back to the kid or you write them. I had a lady wrote me, she came to church and she asked me a question. I'm trying to think what it was. I can't, it's something to do about spiritual growth. And then she wasn't there for like 5 weeks. And I had the answer. And then I saw her on the street and I pulled over. Hey, come here. I got the answer for you. And I answered it on the side of the road, but I did get the answer to the lady. So you're going to want to do that. So anyway, if this has been helpful, I appreciate if you hit the subscribe button here, pass this on to somebody else by sharing it in whatever way you can. And of course, give us a thumbs up on the like buttons. We appreciate that always. And make sure that you check us out at the Better Sundays podcast, which is at Better bettersundays.com, or you can just go to your podcasting app. You can just go to the Better Sundays podcast and you'll find it there. So anyway, this is Mike, and I'm going to say God bless you. Don't forget to be serving the Lord with gladness and entering to his gates with thanksgiving. And you have yourself a tremendous Sunday, and we will see you next week, same time, same station. God bless. Take care.